Hi, welcome to Bookwood. I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me. If you haven't met before, my name is Mashou, and I create bookish and journal-related content over here on YouTube. Welcome in my weekly carousel vlog. Late again, but then just for me. I was ill over the weekend, so I wasn't able to wrap this vlog up. And so, yeah, we'll just do with that. In this vlog, I'm going to talk to you about the books that I've read. And due to being ill, I have read some more than I normally would have. So that's a positive side. We will have 4 books in this vlog, and I'll go over them in order of finishing them. The first book I finished was Ghandi, a memoir. This is an audiobook that was and still is included in at least my Audible subscription. And I had it for a while put in my library. So when I needed a book about someone famous for the Battle of the Bands, I decided that this would be the perfect time to read this book. And yeah, for me it was like an okay read, but not more. But that maybe also have to do with the intentions or what I wanted out of it. So I read a lot of novels set in India or by Indian authors, and I think of that especially in the Captain Windham series written by Abir Mukherjee, who are set in this time period in which Ghandi was having his non-violent, peaceful revolution for the independence of India. And this is also a time period that we did talk about in school, and we studied Ghandi as a famous person in school. So I do have some background knowledge, and I think that I wanted something deeper, something a little bit more going into depth into the philosophies. And maybe for that I shouldn't have picked a memoir written by an American journalist who was sent to India to document the events, but maybe like a biography or an in-depth study. So probably I chose the wrong book for what I wanted out of it. But the way this book is told is very like somebody sitting down with you, maybe near a fire or at least over a good cup of coffee or tea, and telling you like when he was in India and when he met Ghandi, and oh, this happened and oh, this happened. And it tells the big lines that I learned in school. It also tells the same big lines that were taken into many of the books I've read. So I didn't feel learning something new. I did got confirmed that what I read was also correct, and it was quite interesting hearing it told by somebody who lived it. And for that, this was a nice book. So if you want to have some knowledge about what happened and who Ghandi is, then this is a good book. If you want to go more in depth, maybe pick another one. But in overall, very agreeable to listen to and not excessively long. It's about 8 hours. We did do some activities this week. And so the first B-roll is from, I think it was Thursday. And in that day, our library holds an event that is now in most of Wallonia, but that started in Brussels, which is called Lire dans les parcs, or Lire au parc, reading in the park. This started many years ago in Brussels, where summers are hot. There are a few parks, and so they invited people to come read over there. And I remember that you-know-what period, there were more events like this, like sometimes just they were put out sofas and hanging chairs and stuff like that, and you could go read in silence for a while with other people, and there were books at disposal. But that slowly slowed down, and even in Anden, where they used to have an event like that every week over the summer vacation, I think we will have 4 over the entire summer, and where at first it was aimed more to everybody, now they are often aimed to little children, and not even like middle grade or elementary, no, little children. So we went there anyways because for me it is a moment that I can take my kids back into the world of reading. And so we went to sit in the little huts, tents to read, but we also enjoyed listening to Colline Conteuse, who is a lady that I have met several times during activities in the city. And she's so sweet and so nice, and she became a storyteller, and she mingles storytelling with little songs and music, and one of her 4 instruments is the accordion, which is quite Belgian instrument. Well, it's quite popular here, and it's in our folk music. And so I decided to share some of these images with you. That's what's coming up.
Premièrement, je vois mal ce que je ferais d'un entier. Et deuxièmement, connais-tu l'histoire de la coccinelle? De chez nous, on les plante avec la tête. À la mode, on les plante avec la tête. À la mode de chez nous.
The second book I finished is one that I've been reading for a very long time, and that is, and I need to get the title right in English, say The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. I have started this book in June. It is a book that I was reading for the collection challenge, and my strategy during Tao was I read my book for my leg, and then when I finished I read my other reads until the next legs drops. And so I started this book, but I made a very slow progress in it, and it ended being a book that I read in several periods. And even if I think the story would be even better reading it in, I'd say, only a few sittings and closer together, I'm very happy that it took me so long to read it because I so enjoyed this book. This is a story of a man, and he will be called like the fiancé throughout the whole book. So I hope that the names in English are the same, because I know sometimes they differ, but I read in French. And he tells the story about how he became a specialist like in folk tales and fairy tales, because he remembers that he had a brother, and then one day everybody said he never had a brother. And so he's convinced as a child that his brother was taken or went to the other or the Fey realm. And somehow he tries to find books that tell him how to access it, how to find his brother back. And during this search, he meets Indigo. And Indigo is the very strange, weird, not very worldly, extremely rich heiress of this huge chain of hotels. She is like wealthy as can be, and she has a book that he wants to consult, and when he meets her, starts a love story between them. And they have a very particular way of being together, of being them, not a bad way. It is very based on these fairy tales because she also loves them very much. And when they get married, she says that he should never try to find out who she was younger, what her backstory is. And that's completely fine by him, and they live quite happily for a while. And then they receive news that they need to go back to La Maison des Rêves, the House of Dreams, I want to call it. I don't know in English. I hope it's that. This is a house on a little island where Indigo grew up. And the house will be like a personality of its own, will like install ideas or things into our fiancé's mind, and slowly he will try to find out what the backstory is of Indigo. Not especially because he wants to know, but about a question that the aunt of Indigo asks him, and that links to other strange things that he have picked up on. And so left alone whilst Indigo is taking care of the succession, because her aunt is going to die, she's very ill. He's left there in this house, and so he investigates a little bit. We will have in this story woven points of view of Azur, who is a younger girl who met Indigo when they were very young, and it tells them how they grew up together. So we get to know part of the backstory as well. The twist, somehow I didn't see coming, which was very fun. And the way then that the really outcome was fantastic. And what I loved, especially on this book, was the beautiful prose. It is quite lyric, and I enjoy that, but it has to be like in the right context and in the right story. And this one was just perfect. And there is this mingling between like real life, like fairy tales, with a touch of, for me, magical realism. And then it is classified Gothic horror-esque. I don't know if it is more like a suspension horror than anything else. There is no like body horror or very spooky things that are happening, which is a subtle form that I enjoy a lot. I just recommend this book to everybody because it is really a discovery for me. I have been looking into the author's backlist. There is a lot of YA. This is the only adult book, and I am now hesitant because I know that YA is a hit or a miss. And I think I will wait for the occasion and see if there is some other adult books come out. But yeah, maybe I'll try the YA as well, as because I like the writing style so much. Next up, some B-roll of an evening walk that I did, and that was yesterday, so that was technically like next week. But you know what, I'm going to put it in there. And if you wonder why I was out at night, not only because it's hot during the day, and that it was the first day I felt relatively better, and that I did some catching up in my house chores, that I still wanted to go out, I also collected some materials which you don't see in the clips. if you want to see those, you will have to keep an eye open for my reading journal setup for August, because that's where I'm going to use them in. We enjoyed walking in the cool air, me, that's Niklas and I, and we got to see some hares, but we couldn't film them. These are so quick. We didn't get to see anything else. I wish we could have seen some badgers, but didn't happen. But with the hot weather going on, I think we will have some more evening walks coming up. So you never know. If we are lucky, we can show you some more animals soon. The third book I picked up was Evergreen Legacy, for the ones who participate in my readathon. All information over there. Hint, hint, hint. And this is a book that I read on Kindle. So basically, that's why I picked it up, because at the start I wanted to go on and on with books for both readathons I'm participating in. The other one is game nightathon. And well, most books of that didn't come in through the library, and I'm going on Thursday or Friday, probably Thursday. So I will have them then. So then I have about 2 weeks left for that readathon. So I did, well, let's read another one for Battle of the Bands, but also like it's on Kindle, and I planned Friday to go out with my kids for the day to a very big playground, water playground near Leuven, where I lived for a while and grew up near. But well, being ill, we didn't do that. So I still read on my Kindle. That's easy when you're ill. It's like you can be lazy and just skip the pages with the clicky thing. That was a good purchase. I recommend that. So I picked the Evergreen Legacy book because it was on Kindle, and it's also the third book in the Magical Botanist series, and that's why it went for the prompt a load of your TBR, because well, that makes a series being of it, which is always a good thing, not to have them hanging around with my goals. So in the first book, we meet Briar, and she lives in this little town called Weed, and she is obsessed with art. She wants to go to a very specific art college, because that's what her mother did. Her mother died many, many years ago, and she's living with her aunt, which is her mom's twin sister. But before going to art college, she's studying 2 years at the local college, and doing so turns out that she can see things in plants, well, under the microscope, for example, that other people can't, which makes her a magical botanist. And she's invited into a magical academy called Evergreen Academy, and this is located in the woods around Weed. But to the people there, it is just like an abandoned building. You have to have a magical ring that allows you to pass through the shield that shields it off, but that also creates like a mini climate zone where like everything, even tropical, can grow. and there other magical botanists study plants in all kinds of ways. It is a soft and vague magic system. It's not like fireballs or spells or things. No, it is quite interesting and difficult to explain. And Breyer there will have a bunch of friends. There will be a love interest in this non-spice, very sweet romance. And they set off to discover why the verdant shield is not working very well anymore. And that will mingle up with also discovering her descent, because she, of course, has something special about her. And that will linger on. The story really goes on in the 3 books, and I really enjoyed it. It's cozy fantasy, and I wanted to be in that academy. Honestly, this world seems so magical and peaceful and cheerful to me that it really rubbed me in, and I'm very happy that I finished this trilogy. A last little bit of B-roll will be me filling in the pages I created for the readathon, so that I can keep track of the books I've read. I hope you enjoy seeing how I use the pages that I set up in that journal setup. The 4th book and the final one of this week's vlog is Priestess of Avalon. I felt a little bit better, so I could do more reading, but I wasn't good enough to do chores. So I read this book in around a little bit more than 1 day. This book is on my active TBR, and maybe I should re-explain that. So I have a wanting to read list on Goodreads, which holds all the books that I come across that at some point I would like to read. And then the books that are on my active, on my TBR, are the ones that I store on Storygraph. That are the books that I really set out to read at some point and that I can read. So when I make a TBR and a book didn't come in from the library, I do not add it in there. So it's not officially on my TBR until I can read it. And so Priestess of Avalon is a book that I set out to read last year with a reread project of the whole Avalon cycle by Marion Zimmer Bradley and Diana L. Paxson. because I read these books when I was little, and then I discovered there were, I think, two that I didn't read, the two latest ones. And so I decided to do so. And instead of reading them in publication order, I read them in the order of the timeline. So each of these books goes further into from the creation of Avalon until, let's say, the end of it, in Mists of Avalon. And instead of starting with Mists of Avalon, which was the first one, I started with Ancestors of Avalon, and I read through the timeline. And at some point I stopped this project because I had 6 priority reach each month, and I was a little bit done with it, and it took away too much possibilities. Okay, I made it hard for myself as well on my readathons. And so this book hung in there, and well, I put it on Reread a Favorite. So this is one of my favorite fantasy series. In this series, I must be honest, this has always been my least favorite one. This has changed. I will leave Mists of Avalon out of competition because that's the absolute top one, or up till now. But the other favorite I had was The Wood House. And when I reread that, I still liked it, but I was a little bit disappointed. I couldn't feel like the magic it gave to me when I was a young adult, I would say, when I read this. And this one was my least favorite, and probably that is because we go out of Britain. We spent most of the book dwelling the Roman Empire and learning about that, and there is a lot of political stuff and emperors, and somehow it also goes very quick over the years. And when I was younger, it didn't touch me, but this time it touched me very, very much. So this is now indeed in the series one of my favorite books. So in this book, we are after Christ. We are in a big part of the 200s, going into the 300s. And on Avalon is born a little girl, Elan, and her mother dies giving her birth, which makes this girl very unloved by her aunt, who is a priestess. And she's sent off to the village to be taken care of. And from there, she's sent off to her Romanized British father, who sends her for being safe back to Avalon when she's 10. And she gets like her full training, and she sees some visions of her future. And she will one day come across the man that she sees in these visions, and that will cause her to be banned off the island. And she will follow him into the Roman Empire, and they will be, we will see how their marriage life is going. They will be very happy together, of course. But we will investigate how that she loses faith, finds faith back, and investigates Christianism, how she finds a way to make Christianism work together with her ancestral beliefs. And we see how she's aging, and we mostly see her in the power of the mother until she decides to shed the mother off and go to be the crone. And maybe it's because I'm in that mother phase that this book really spoke more to me than when I was young. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really now want to learn more again about the Roman Empire, which is not a bad thing. Let's learn a little bit about them at some point, especially because we do have some Roman vestiges here in the region. So who knows that we can go visit some of those one day. That's all that I have for you this week. Well, it's quite a lot compared to other weeks, so we'll not complain. And I hope you enjoyed spending this time with me. I most certainly enjoyed spending this time with you. If you want to spend more time with me, you can subscribe to this channel, so you can find easily back to come over when you would like. You could turn on notifications if you are eager to meet up as soon as possible. and you could like this video. That would help to spread it over YouTube and so that other people could discover it. But you could also sign up for the readathon and or just join the Discord. All the information is, as always, also down below in the description box. I hope that you will have a great week.
See you soon!